You can replace this text with any text you wish. You can either write in this text box or paste your own text here. Try different languages and voices. Change the speed and the pitch of the voice. You can even tweak the SSML speech synthesis markup language to control how the different hey there, coin hunters, and pocket change pros. Have you ever dropped a penny, looked at it, and thought, just 1 cent? Well, let me tell you a little secret that'll have you crawling under the couch cushions and checking your change jar like it's buried treasure. There's a 1973 D Lincoln penny out there that's worth a whopping $1 million. Yep, you heard that right. 1 cent turned into $1 million. Now before you flip your coin jar upside down in a frenzy, stick with me. In today's video, we're diving deep into the world of this elusive and outrageously valuable penny minted in Denver in 1973. We're gonna talk about what makes it so special, how you might spot one, and why the heck someone would fork over $1 million for something that used to buy candy at the corner store. And yep, I've got a personal story about one that got away. Grab your favorite snack, maybe a flashlight for when you start digging under the sofa, and let's talk coins worth crazy money. Alright, so let's break this thing down. First, let's talk basics. The 1973 D Lincoln penny was minted in Denver. That little D right below the year means it came from the Denver Mint. In that year alone, over 3.5 billion pennies were made with that mint mark. So you're probably thinking, what's so special about one lousy penny out of billions? Most of these pennies were made just like the rest, bronze, average weight, same OL, Abraham Lincoln looking solemn. But once in a while, the mint machines hiccup. Sometimes it's a wrong metal planchet. Other times it's a double die. Or maybe a die was overused and started leaving weak or distorted impressions. Occasionally, someone at the mint had a wild night and mixed things up, resulting in an error coin that sends collectors into a frenzy. Now this one specific 1973 D penny is so valuable because it has a combination of rare minting errors and is in near-perfect condition. We're talking about a coin that's not only got a striking error but also is graded at the top tier by professional coin grading services MS68 or higher. And folks, let me tell you, the higher the grade, the higher the paycheck. You could have the rarest error in the world, but if the coin looks like it got run over by a lawnmower, the value drops faster than a toddler holding an ice cream cone. Now here's where things get really interesting. The $1 million 1973 D penny is believed to have been struck on a leftover bronze planchet from 1972 instead of the copper-plated zinc that would eventually become the standard. That, mixed with some wild doubling on Lincoln's profile and the date, makes it a unicorn in the world of coins. Add in that pristine condition and boom, you've got $1 million baby. Let me rewind a bit now and tell you a personal story. One I laugh about now but almost cried over back then. A few years back, I was cleaning out an old cigar box that belonged to my grandpa. He collected coins, not in any organized way, mind you. More like he'd toss anything shiny or weird in there and forget about it. Well, there it was, a 1973 D Lincoln penny. The thing had some strange markings. The date looked a little off. My heart started racing. I even did the thing we all do. I Googled it immediately and compared it to the error coin photos. I took it to a local coin shop, trying to play it cool, you know. Like, hey, just wondering what this might be worth. The guy put on his magnifier, took one look, and said it's worth about 1 cent. I deflated faster than a bouncy house at a porcupine party. Turns out it wasn't the one. No doubling, no bronze planchet. Just a beat-up coin that probably went through 3 vending machines and a tumble in the washing machine. Still, the experience lit a fire in me. I became obsessed. I started learning everything I could about rare pennies. I even started annoying my friends with trivia at parties. Did you know there are more valuable error pennies floating around than you'd expect? Well, now you do. Check the weight. A bronze penny will weigh about 3.11 grams, while a copper-plated zinc one weighs closer to 2.5 grams. You'll need a digital scale that measures in tenths of a gram. Trust me, it's worth the $10 investment. Inspect the date and mint mark for any doubling. Look closely, especially at the 9, 7, and 3. A strong double die is a game changer. Look at the color and luster. If it shines like a brand new copper penny and doesn't have scratches or corrosion, you might be looking at a high-grade coin. Get it graded. If you think you've got the real deal, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Yes, they charge a fee, but they'll authenticate it, grade it, and if it's the one, Well, you'll be doing the happy dance all the way to the bank. Let me give you a real-world example. Back in 2022, one of these 1973 pennies in flawless condition was auctioned for just under $1 million. The buyer? A private collector who said he'd been looking for that coin for over a decade. And guess where the seller found it? In a coin roll he bought at the bank for 50 cents. 50 cents for 50 pennies, and one of them paid for a house. Now tell me you're not about to hit the bank up for some penny rolls. That penny in your junk drawer might just be your golden ticket. The 1973 Lincoln penny is proof that history, mistakes, and a little bit of luck can turn pocket change into a fortune. It's not just about the money either, it's about the thrill of the hunt, the joy of discovery. And hey, it's way more exciting than playing the lottery because this treasure might already be in your house. If this got you curious, you've got to hit that subscribe button right now. I've got loads more videos coming your way about coins worth serious cash, collecting strategies, and all the stuff the big dealers don't want you to know. And don't forget to like this video and drop a comment telling me what the rarest coin is in your collection. You never know, you might be holding on to the next $1 million find. Now go check your change. And remember, in the world of coin collecting, every penny counts, literally. Hey folks, let me ask you something right off the bat. What if I told you there might be a tiny copper coin sitting in your junk drawer, glove box, or even under your couch cushion that's worth a jaw-dropping $1.1 million? Yeah, you heard that right. 1 cent, worth more than a Lamborghini, a beach house, or my entire wardrobe and questionable coin collection combined. Today we're diving into one special little coin that's turning heads and filling wallets. The 1962 Lincoln penny. Yep, the same penny you might have tossed into a vending machine as a kid or used to scratch off a lottery ticket. Turns out, some of these little fellas are now worth more than most people's retirement accounts, so grab a coffee, a magnifying glass, and your favorite coin jar because we're going deep on what makes this particular penny worth over $1 million. And along the way, I've got a personal story that'll either make you laugh or cry, probably both. Plus, I'll share some strategies to help you figure out if you've got hidden treasure in your pocket change. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll not only know why this 1962 penny is making millionaires, but you'll be itching to start digging through every coin you've got. Alright, let's start with the basics. The 1962 Lincoln penny comes from the Denver Mint. That's what the little D mint mark under the date stands for. In that year, they cranked out over 1.7 billion of these pennies. Yeah, billion with a B. So on the surface, it doesn't sound rare, right? You're thinking, how can a coin with that many copies be worth more than $1 million? You see, most of those billions of pennies were your average run-of-the-mill coins. Nothing special. But a handful, and we're talking just a few, had errors, anomalies, or near-perfect conditions that make collectors go absolutely bananas. First off, condition. The $1 million version of this penny was discovered in mint state condition, meaning it looks almost exactly like the day it left the mint. No scratches, no fingerprints, no coffee stains. Basically the holy grail of coin quality. Second, there's a specific error that collectors drool over. Some of these coins were struck on bronze planchets that were either too thick or had irregular composition. Others show doubling on Lincoln's face or the lettering, which is known as a double die error. And let me tell you, that kind of error on a 1962 penny is like finding Bigfoot in your backyard flipping pancakes. Now combine that error with a mint state grade of MS67 or higher, and boom. You've got yourself a 1-cent coin that could pay off your house, your neighbor's house, and still leave enough for a lifetime supply of pizza. So a few years back, I was visiting my uncle up in Colorado. He's one of those old school guys who keeps jars of coins around the house like they're family heirlooms. I'm talking 3 mason jars stuffed with pennies, nickels, quarters, you name it. Being the curious guy I am, I asked if I could go through them. He shrugged and said, "Sure, knock yourself out." So I sat there for hours like some treasure-hunting raccoon, sifting through crusty pennies. And wouldn't you know it, I found a 1962 Lincoln penny. Now back then, I wasn't deep into coin collecting. I thought, cool, old penny, and tossed it in my pocket like a fool. I probably used it at a gas station for a pack of gum. It wasn't until a couple of years later that I read about the high-value versions of that exact coin. You can guess the rest. Gone. Vanished. Lost to history, or possibly stuck in the crack of someone else's car seat. Never underestimate what looks like just another penny. Alright, let's get practical here. What should you look for if you've got a 1962 D penny in your possession? No scratches, discoloration, or wear. You want sharp features on Lincoln's face, clear lettering, and a shiny surface. Look for doubling on the date or letters, especially in Liberty or In God We Trust. Any weird thickness, off-center strikes, or unusual color can be clues. Get it graded. If you suspect you've got a good one, send it in to a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. If it comes back as MS-67 or better, congrats, you just hit the jackpot. The most valuable 1962 D penny ever sold went for a whopping $1.1 million. That's not a rumor, that's auction record, wallet-exploding, verified truth. These coins are rare, but they're out there. Collectors and investors are willing to pay top dollar for pristine, rare varieties. If you've got the right one, you're not just holding on to history, you're sitting on a mountain of copper gold. Even lower-grade ones with minor errors can still fetch hundreds or thousands. That's a heck of a return on 1 cent. So maybe now you're thinking, alright, how do I increase my chances of finding one of these? Check old family jars and drawers, especially ones from the 60s and 70s. Hit up garage sales or estate sales where coins might be sold in bulk. Ask relatives. You'd be surprised what Grandpa might have in his closet. Buy small lots of unsorted pennies online and go through them slowly. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to inspect every detail. Join a local coin club. You'll meet folks who can help you learn fast. Be patient. You might not find a $1 million penny right away, but you will find some cool stuff. And every once in a while, lightning strikes. So there you have it, my friends. The humble little 1962 D Lincoln penny. A coin you probably walked right past in a parking lot. Could actually be worth over $1 million. It's the underdog story of the numismatic world. We covered why it's rare, what to look for, and how to start your own hunt. And you heard my tale of tragic coin loss. May that penny rest in peace, or at least buy someone a cup of coffee one day. But now it's your turn. Go check your jars. Dig through the junk drawers. Flip those couch cushions. Who knows? You might just be one lucky penny away from a life-changing payday. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, do me a solid. Hit that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up, and share it with your buddies. Especially that one guy who thinks collecting coins is boring. Show him how wrong he is. More tips, more coin strategies, and more crazy stories are coming your way. Because in the world of pocket change, anything is possible. Hey there, coin lovers and treasure hunters. Let me hit you with a question that might just make you dig through your couch cushions tonight. What if I told you that an ordinary-looking penny from 1977, yes, just 1 cent, could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.2 million today? No, this isn't clickbait. And no, you don't need to rob a bank to strike it rich. All you need is a sharp eye, a little patience, and maybe a shoebox full of old coins hiding in your closet. Today, we're diving into one of the wildest coin stories around, the 1977 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. This is not just any old penny. This is the kind of penny that could change your life. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, why it's so valuable, and how you might just have one of these golden goose pennies without even realizing it. But before we get into all that money talk, let me tell you a quick story about how I almost threw away what could have been a small fortune. Spoiler alert, I was young, broke, and too dumb to know better. Alright, picture this. It's 2002. I'm moving out of my college apartment, broke as a joke, living on gas station burritos and instant noodles. I found this jar of coins under my bed while packing. Mostly pennies, nothing flashy. I remember holding one up, it looked kinda old, 1977, no little letter under the date. I thought, cool, vintage, then tossed it into the Coinstar machine at the local grocery store. It gave me a receipt for $13.62, and I spent it on pizza and cheap beer. Fast forward 20 years and that same kind of penny could be worth $1.2 million. That's right, $1.2 million. I could have bought a house, or at least a lifetime supply of pizza and gas station burritos. First off, the basics. The 1977 Lincoln penny features our OL buddy Honest Abe, who's been gracing the 1-cent coin since 1909. The design stayed pretty much the same for years, with the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side. Most 1977 pennies were made at the Philadelphia Mint, which, surprise, doesn't use a mint mark on pennies. So, technically, all Philly pennies from that year are no mint mark pennies. Now you're probably thinking, wait a second, if most of them are from Philly and don't have a mint mark, how can it be rare? Excellent question. Here's the twist. Not all no mint mark pennies are created equal. While millions were made, only a handful have been found with near-perfect condition, and that's where things get interesting. Condition is everything in the coin world. You can have the rarest coin, but if it's been through the laundry 20 times, it's not gonna fetch a fortune. The 1977 penny that sold for over $1 million? That one was in mint state 68 plus red, basically fresh out of the mint and handled with gloves by angels. It had a luster that could blind a raccoon and was struck so perfectly even Lincoln's beard hairs looked like real whiskers. That's the kind of quality collector's drool over .so. What should you be looking for? Here's your cheat sheet. This is a copper coin, and the redder it looks, the better. The details in Lincoln's face, jacket, and even the steps of the memorial should be razor sharp. If you think you've got one of these bad boys, don't go rubbing it with your shirt sleeve. That's not cleaning, it's coin murder. Put it in a plastic holder and get it graded by a reputable coin grading company like PCGS or NGC, and don't be discouraged if yours isn't worth $1 million. Even circulated 1977 pennies in good shape can fetch a few bucks, and if you've got hundreds of them lying around, it adds up. Think of it as treasure hunting, only you don't need a map, just your eyes and a little patience. Now let's talk about why someone would pay $1 million for a penny. It's not because they love Abe Lincoln that much. It's about rarity, condition, and the collector's mindset. Some people collect baseball cards, some collect cars, and some drop 7 figures on a tiny copper coin. It's a hobby, it's an investment, and for some folks, it's an obsession. That sale happened at a major auction where bidding wars get fierce. Wealthy collectors want the best of the best, and when something like a flawless 1977 no mint mark penny hits the market, they pull out the big wallets. Do you have one hiding in your junk drawer? Maybe you got one back in change from the gas station last week and didn't even look at it. Maybe your grandma has a whole coffee can full of pennies from the 70s. That's how people find these coins. They're not buried treasure, they're right under our noses. Let me tell you about a guy I met at a coin show last year. Retired truck driver. Told me he started checking his change in the late 90s. Just a casual hobby. Then one day he finds a 1977 penny in his drawer that looked brand new. Sends it off for grading, comes back as MS-67 red. Sold it for over $9,000. Not the $1 million one, but still. For 1 cent, that's a solid return on investment. He looked me dead in the eye and said, "Son, I made more off that penny than I did working overtime for a whole week hauling fertilizer." Alright folks, let's wrap this up with a little real talk. If you're just starting to get into coins, the 1977 no mint mark Lincoln penny is a perfect example of why this hobby is so exciting. It's not just about old metal, it's about the thrill of the hunt, the stories behind the coins, and yeah, sometimes it's about the big money. So next time you get change at the grocery store, don't just toss those pennies aside. Take a second. Look at the date. Look for that mint mark or lack of it. You never know what you're holding in your hand. That little copper coin might be your golden ticket. And if you liked this video and want more tips on coins that could be worth thousands or millions, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I post new videos every week on coin collecting strategies, valuable finds, and insider tips to help you make the most of your change, because remember, in the world of coin collecting, it's not just about luck. It's about knowing what to look for. Maybe one day you'll be the one telling the story of how you turned a penny into a payday. Hey folks, stop whatever you're doing and check your pockets. Because that plain old penny you just tossed in your change jar might be worth more than your car. Seriously, I'm not joking. One of the most overlooked coins in American history, the 1967 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, is now worth a jaw-dropping $1.3 million. Yeah, you heard me right. That's 6 zeros behind that one. And no, you don't need a magnifying glass or a time machine to find one. You just need to know what to look for. Now, before you start flipping over every penny you've ever touched, give me a few minutes, or 50, and I'll walk you through exactly what makes this coin so valuable, how you can spot one, and why it could turn you into the next surprise millionaire from your couch. And I'll also tell you about the time I nearly tossed a rare penny in a vending machine just to get a Snickers bar. Yeah, that happened. We're gonna talk about it.so. Let's dive in and uncover the treasure hiding right under our noses. Alright, let's set the scene. It's 1967. The Beatles are topping the charts, gas costs 33 cents a gallon, and coins are flowing out of the US Mint like nobody's business. But there's a twist. Due to a coin shortage from the coin collecting craze in the early 60s, the US Mint temporarily stopped putting mint marks on coins from 1965 to 1967. Even though pennies were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, none of them carried a mint mark during that time. This makes the 1967 penny kinda like the ninja of coins. It just blends in silent, unmarked, and overlooked. But one little ninja slipped through the cracks and became a legend. Why? Because of an error. A beautiful, rare, glorious minting error that turned a regular Lincoln penny into a collector's dream. Let's get down to the good stuff. The 1967 Lincoln penny that sold for $1.3 million didn't just get lucky. It had the whole package. That means Lincoln's face, the date, and the words "In God We Trust" look like they've got a shadow. But it's not a printing error, it's a minting error. And collectors lose their minds over that. This bad boy was in mint state, which means not only did it never get used in a vending machine, it probably never even touched human skin. Because of the way the metal was mixed, this penny had an unusual, almost reddish bronze tone. Think of it like a coin with a golden hour Instagram filter permanently baked in. Now combine those things with the fact that millions of 1967 pennies were produced, but only a handful have this particular error, and boom, you've got a once-in-a-generation treasure. Why is a copper penny from 1967 suddenly worth $1 million and change? It's all about rarity and demand. The coin market right now is hotter than a summer sidewalk in Texas. And collectors are always hunting for that one perfect storm of rarity, condition, and history. A few years ago, this very coin popped up at auction and the bidding was like a Super Bowl for coin nerds. The hammer finally dropped at $1.3 million. That's not just a number, folks. That's life-changing money for a penny someone could have found in a coffee can, and it's not just one person getting rich. Coin hunting is becoming more and more popular with regular folks, people like me and you, who just want to know if that weird-looking penny in our junk drawer is worth more than lunch money. About 10 years ago, I was in a gas station on a road trip. I was starving, I hadn't eaten in hours, and all I wanted was a Snickers bar. I had about $1 and change in my pocket, mostly pennies. I fed most of them into the vending machine, but one penny just wouldn't go in. The machine kept spitting it back out like it had taste buds. So I finally look at this stubborn little coin, and for the first time, I noticed something odd. The date was 1967. No mint mark. And something about Lincoln's face looked off. Like he had a shadow or a double. Long story short, I didn't get my Snickers. I took that penny home, got it looked at later, and guess what? It wasn't the penny, but it was still worth $75. Which is about 37 Snickers bars, depending on the store. That moment changed everything. I went from being a vending machine regular to a coin nerd overnight. Now I check every piece of change I get. I even peek into fountain coins. Don't judge me. Start checking your pocket change. Every 1967 penny should get a double take. Use a magnifying glass or a coin loop. You want to look for doubling in the date, the letters, and Lincoln's profile. Check the condition. If it's shiny and sharp with no scratches, you've got something special. Do not clean your coins. Ever. Cleaning a valuable coin is like microwaving fine china. If you think you've got something, take it to a certified coin dealer or get it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC, and don't be discouraged if you don't find one right away. Coin hunting is a long game. But when you do find something, man, it feels better than hitting a slot machine jackpot in Vegas. The 1967 penny was made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. That's right, back in the day, they were almost entirely copper, unlike today's mostly zinc imposters. A single roll of 1967 pennies has sold for hundreds of dollars on eBay, and that's without any known errors. Some 1967 pennies were struck on the wrong planchet, meaning they were made using metal blanks from nickels or foreign coins. Those errors can fetch thousands. So even if you don't hit the $1.3 million jackpot, you still might find something worth flipping, just not into a vending machine. Alright folks, if you've made it this far, you're officially part of the Coin Hunters Club. Whether you're checking your change for the first time or you've already got a shoebox full of copper dreams, the 1967 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny proves one thing: treasure is still out there, and it's hiding in plain sight. You don't need to be rich to find rare coins. You just need to be curious, patient, and maybe a little bit lucky. Now, before you rush off to raid your piggy bank or go elbow deep into the couch cushions, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. This channel is your home base for all things coins worth money. We're talking penny strategies, quarter gems, rare dimes, and maybe even the occasional vending machine mistake that turns into a treasure hunt. Stick with me and I'll help you turn pocket change into big change. Catch you in the next video, and remember, never underestimate a penny. Especially not one from 1967. Hey folks, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at the pennies in your pocket? I mean really looked. Because if you're like most people, you probably toss them in a jar, leave them in the car cup holder, or just ignore them altogether. Well, today's the day that changes forever. Why? Because there's a 1964 Lincoln penny out there that's worth a jaw-dropping $1.4 million. Yes, I said million with an M. And guess what? You might just have one sitting in your change jar right now without even realizing it. Stick around, because I'm about to tell you everything you need to know about this incredible coin, how to spot it, why it's so valuable, and what makes it such a rare treasure. I'll also share a little story about how I almost spent a valuable penny at a gas station for a pack of gum. True story, and yes, I'm still haunted by it. So go grab a cup of coffee, dig out your coin jar, and let's jump into the wild world of the 1964 Lincoln penny, the $1 million copper king. Alright, let's get down to business. First up, what's the deal with this 1964 Lincoln penny? Why is it worth more than a Ferrari and a beach house combined? That's what the little d stands for, was cranking out billions of pennies. These were your everyday, run-of-the-mill copper coins. Nothing fancy. But once in a blue moon, the mint makes a boo-boo. And that's where the magic happens. Point one of the rarest known errors from that year involves a double die strike. That means the coin got stamped twice, slightly off, so the lettering and sometimes Lincoln's profile have a ghostly shadow or doubling effect. It's like the coin had one too many cups of coffee and jittered a little during the process. Now most of these double-die coins end up getting caught and melted down. But a few slip through. And when collectors catch wind of one, oh buddy, it's like sharks smelling blood in the water. The 1964 double-die penny is insanely rare. Only a couple verified examples have ever surfaced. And the last known sale? A cool $1.4 million. Imagine finding that in your car's ashtray. Now, let me throw in a personal story to drive this home. A few years ago, I was at a gas station. I was short a penny for a pack of gum. Reached into my pocket, grabbed one, handed it over, and thought nothing of it. 2 weeks later, I was scrolling through a coin forum, yeah, I'm that guy, and I saw a photo of a rare 1964 penny. My stomach dropped. It looked exactly like the one I gave away. The wear, the little scratch on the edge, even the slight doubling in the date. I stared at that photo like it was my ex showing up at my wedding. I couldn't believe it. I even went back to that gas station asking the clerk if he remembered the penny. He looked at me like I was nuts. Which, to be fair, I probably was. Anyway, lesson learned, never underestimate a penny. Check the date. It's got to say 1964 and have a small d underneath the date. That means it was minted in Denver. Look for doubling. That's the big one. Use a magnifying glass or a coin loop. Check the date, the letters in Liberty, and the phrase "In God We Trust." If they look slightly shadowed or doubled, you may be holding something special. Condition matters. If the coin is beat to heck, it'll still be worth more than 1 cent, but not millions. The $1 million ones are in great condition, usually what they call mint state. Basically, that means it looks like it never went through a vending machine or got chewed by your dog. Now here's something funny. One guy actually found a valuable penny while he was vacuuming his couch. You can't make this stuff up. He was digging for the TV remote, found an old penny, looked it up out of curiosity, and boom, 5-figure payday. Treat every penny like it owes you money. Because one of them just might. Let's talk about the current market for Lincoln pennies real quick. Right now, rare coins are having a moment. With the rise in collectibles, inflation, and digital currencies, people are starting to appreciate the value of cold hard coins again. The market's hot, and a 1964 D penny in pristine condition with an error can easily fetch over $1 million at auction. Even the lower grade versions with minor errors can go for thousands. So even if you don't strike gold, you might strike silver. Or at least a stack of gas money. Get familiar with reputable grading services like PCGS and NGC. These companies verify coins and certify their condition. If you think you've got a winner, don't take it to your cousin who once bought a metal detector off eBay. Get it graded, and hey, join some coin groups online. I'm in a few, and you wouldn't believe the things people find. One guy found a 1914 D penny in an old tackle box. Another lady found a 1955 double-die penny in her dad's war medals. These things are out there. I've had buddies get into this as a hobby, and next thing you know, they're making side money buying and flipping coins. It's like Antiques Roadshow meets American Pickers, but with a lot more copper. Don't ignore your pennies. They may be tiny, but they've got big potential. The 1964 D Lincoln penny is no ordinary coin. It's a rare gem, and if you find the right one, you're looking at $1 million payday. Always double-check your change, your coin jars, your couch cushions, and yes, even your ashtray. Now I want you to do something. Right after this video, go grab every old penny you've got. Line them up, check those dates, and see if you spot that magical 1964 D with a little doubling on it. You never know, you might be sitting on a treasure and not even know it. And hey, if you learned something today or got a laugh, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. I've got loads more coin tips, rare finds, and stories from the collecting world coming your way. Plus, I'll show you how to build a coin collection that's not only fun but could be worth serious money down the line. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Keep hunting, stay curious, and remember, sometimes the smallest coin has the biggest story. Hey folks, quick question. What if I told you that one single penny sitting in your pocket, hiding under your couch cushion, or glued to the bottom of your car cup holder could be worth $1.5 million? Yeah, I know it sounds like one of those late-night TV infomercials where some guy yells at you about miracle glue or a magical blanket with sleeves. But this is real. One little copper-colored coin from 1982, with no mint mark, could change your life. Now, don't go flipping your couch just yet. We're going to walk through everything you need to know about this elusive coin, why it's valuable, what makes it special, and how to tell if you might have one. I make videos for guys like me and probably like you, men who love the thrill of the hunt. Whether it's in the garage, the flea market, or that forgotten coffee can full of change. So grab a drink, settle in, and let's dive into the story of the 1982 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that's worth a jaw-dropping $1.5 million. Let me take you back to 1982. Gas was cheap, hair was big, and Michael Jackson was moonwalking his way into pop history. But in the world of coins, something weird was going on at the U.S. Mint. See, 1982 was a year of transition for the Lincoln penny. For years, the penny was made mostly of copper. But copper prices were climbing faster than a squirrel on espresso. The Mint decided it was time to switch to something cheaper, a core of zinc with a thin copper coating. Basically, penny inflation was a real problem. It cost more than a penny to make a penny. Go figure. In 1982, both copper and zinc pennies were made, 7 different varieties in total. Some had large dates, some had small dates, and some had no mint mark, which meant they were made in Philadelphia. Most of these are just your regular everyday pocket change. But one version, the 1982 no mint mark penny made of copper, is the superstar. Now, How rare is this copper no mint mark variety? We're talking rare like finding a clean public restroom at a gas station. It's believed only a small number escaped from the mint before they fully switched to the new zinc composition. And only a handful have been authenticated. Why does the mint mark matter? Well, Philadelphia didn't use a mint mark on pennies at that time. So when we say, no mint mark, that's expected. But finding one in solid copper with that small date font? That's like winning the numismatic lottery. And someone did. Let's talk value. In a recent private sale, one of these rare beauties went for $1.5 million. That's right. A 1-cent coin turned into $1.5 million. And it wasn't made of gold. It wasn't encrusted with diamonds. It was just a humble penny that most folks would toss in the coin jar without blinking. First, you'll need a 1982 penny without a mint mark. That's your starting point. Then check the date style. There are two main types, small date and large date. You want the small date version. The top of the number 2 in the date should be level with the tops of the 1 and 9. If it dips below, that's the large date. Move along. Next, it's time for the old drop test. Copper pennies make a higher pitched ringing sound when dropped on a table compared to the dull clunk of zinc ones. But don't trust your ears completely. For a more accurate test, you'll need a scale that can measure grams. A copper penny from 1982 should weigh about 3.11 grams. Give or take a tiny bit. The zinc ones weigh only 2.5 grams. That's a difference you can feel with the right scale. If your penny hits that 3.11 sweet spot, it might be made of copper. Now, even if you've got a 1982 no mint mark small date copper penny, it's got to be authenticated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC to truly know what you've got. Otherwise, you're just holding a penny with dreams. About 10 years ago, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. He's the kind of guy who keeps everything. You know the type, got a box labeled string. Maybe useful one day. Anyway, in one old Maxwell House coffee can, there were hundreds of pennies. I spent a whole weekend going through them, like a caffeinated squirrel. That I didn't find $1 million coin that day. But I did find a 1943 steel penny and a 1955 wheat penny in great shape. That weekend taught me something. Value isn't just in the big hits. It's in the stories, the hunt, the thrill of maybe. And every now and then, someone gets lucky. Why not you? Hit up garage sales and estate sales. Some older folks have jars full of change just sitting there. Always check your change when paying cash. I once found a 1964 silver dime at a convenience store. The clerk didn't care, but I sure did. Invest in a decent scale and magnifying glass. Doesn't have to be fancy, just accurate. Learn the sounds. Seriously. Coins talk if you know how to listen. Alright, my friends. If you've stuck with me this long, you now know the tale of the 1982 no mint mark copper Lincoln penny. A coin so rare, so elusive, it's practically the Bigfoot of pocket change. But unlike Bigfoot, this one can be weighed, tested, and valued at a whopping $1.5 million. And remember, even if you don't find the $1 million one, there's plenty of value out there in coins you never thought twice about. This hobby isn't just about money. It's about discovery, history, and stories you can pass down. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I post regular videos on coins worth money, smart collecting strategies, and yes, a few dad jokes now and then. Give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment if you've ever found something cool in your change, and share it with a friend who still thinks pennies are worthless. Hey folks, have you ever dropped a penny on the ground and just walked away like it was worth less than a piece of chewing gum? Well, let me tell you something that might make you want to go back and check under every couch cushion, in every old piggy bank, and maybe even in your glove compartment. Because there's a penny out there, yes, a regular old 1-cent coin, that could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.6 million today. And nope, I'm not talking about some ancient Roman treasure or a coin from George Washington's sock drawer. I'm talking about a 1979 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. That's right, 1 cent. 1 year. No mint mark. 1.6 million reasons to get excited. Or my house. Or my car and my house combined if we're being honest? Don't worry, we're gonna break it all down. I'll tell you what makes this little copper coin so dang special, how to spot one if you're lucky, and even share a personal story about how I almost cashed in on one and then totally missed out. Spoiler alert, it still hurts. So sit back, grab your jar of loose change, and get ready to turn those pennies into possibilities. Because this, my friends, is the story of the millionaire penny you could actually find in your own pocket. Alright, so let's start with a little background. The year is 1979. Disco's dying, bell-bottoms are hanging on for dear life, and Lincoln pennies are still being made primarily from copper. In fact, pennies back then were made of 95% copper and only 5% zinc. These were solid little suckers. Not like the lightweight, mostly zinc ones we've got today. Now, the U.S. Mint produced pennies in 3 locations that year: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Here's the kicker: coins from Denver and San Francisco carry mint marks, D and S respectively. But the ones from Philly? They were old school. They didn't have a mint mark. And that's where our $1.6 million mystery begins. So, what makes the 1979 no mint mark penny worth millions? Well, not every 1979 penny without a mint mark is valuable. If that were the case, we'd all be swimming in money like Scrooge McDuck. No, this particular penny is special because it has a rare error, possibly from a misstrike or a die variety. Some believe it was part of a limited test run or an unusual die that made it into circulation. That's what makes it valuable. It's the coin world's version of a unicorn, or a golden ticket, or that one sock that disappears in the laundry and actually turns up. Here's the deal though. Most people don't know what to look for. They think a penny is just a penny. But collectors? They've got eagle eyes. They're looking for pristine condition, sharp details, clean edges, and most importantly, error markings or subtle variations that make a coin one of a kind. Now let me tell you a little story. I was at a garage sale, this was maybe 10, 12 years ago, and I spotted a rusty old Folgers coffee can full of coins. Just sitting there. The price tag? $2 for the whole thing. I thought, hey, maybe I'll find a silver dime or two. So I bought it, brought it home, and started digging. I came across a 1979 penny that looked different. It had no mint mark, sure, but it also had the slightly doubled edge on the lettering. It looked weird, like a double die error. I squinted at it, took a blurry photo, posted it in a coin group online, and waited. One guy said, toss it, it's junk. Another said, could be interesting, but not valuable. And like a genius, I tossed it back into the coffee can. Years later, I found out coins just like that were being appraised for hundreds of thousands, some hitting over $1 million if they were in mint state. I felt like the guy who sold his Apple stock in 1982 to buy a motorcycle. That coin might still be in that can somewhere. I might be sitting on $1.6 million and not even know it. Which is both exciting and incredibly frustrating. First, make sure it's from 1979 and has no mint mark under the date. Second, look at the overall condition. If it's shiny, scratch-free, and looks like it's never seen a vending machine, you're in good shape. Next, grab a magnifying glass or even use your phone camera. Look for doubling on the letters or numbers. Look at Lincoln's profile. If anything looks off, weird, or just unique, don't ignore it. Better yet, take it to a local coin dealer. Or send photos to a professional grading service. You'd be surprised how many people sell valuable coins on eBay for $5 because they just don't know what they've got. Now, let's talk about the market value. Why is it $1.6 million now? Well, the coin market is like real estate. It's all about rarity, demand, and condition. There are fewer than 5 of these known in top-grade condition. And collectors? They'll pay big bucks to complete their sets. It's like Pokemon cards, but for grown men with magnifying glasses and coin albums instead of Charizards. One of these bad boys sold at a private auction for $1.6 million. That's a verified sale. No rumors, no hype, just cold hard cash for one hot little penny. Makes you look at change a little differently, doesn't it? And here's the fun part. You don't have to be a millionaire to find one. These coins were minted in the millions. And though only a handful have that special error or die variation, they're still out there. In jars, drawers, old coin rolls from the bank. Heck, you might have spent one buying a soda last week and not even realized it. Start collecting rolls of pennies from your local bank. It's called coin roll hunting, and it's the cheapest treasure hunt you'll ever go on. Costs you $1 for 100 pennies, and you might just walk away with a retirement fund. I've heard stories of people finding rare coins in circulation while checking out at Walmart. It happens, and if you don't find the $1,000,000 penny, don't worry. There are plenty of other valuable coins out there: nickels, dimes, quarters, even half-dollars. Some worth thousands. Some worth hundreds. All hiding in plain sight. So there you have it. The 1979 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny that could be worth $1.6 million. A tiny copper coin with a massive payday. It's the kind of thing that turns everyday folks into passionate treasure hunters. All you need is a little curiosity, a little patience, and a willingness to dig through some dirty coins. Listen, if you enjoyed this little journey into the world of high-stakes pennies and hidden fortune, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Seriously, I'm putting out more videos on coin collecting tips, valuable errors to watch for, and stories of folks just like you turning spare change into serious money. It's fun, it's addictive, and it might just pay off big time. Don't forget to like the video if you got a laugh or learned something new. Drop a comment and let me know if you've ever found a weird penny or had a near miss like me. And hey, next time someone tells you a penny isn't worth picking up, just smile and maybe check the date before you leave it behind. Hey there, folks. Let me ask you something. What if I told you that a single penny hiding in your couch cushions, your grandpa's old coin jar, or even in your own pocket could be worth more than a Ferrari? I mean, seriously. One little copper coin, the kind we usually ignore, could fetch you a whopping $1.7 million. Yep. Today, we're talking about the legendary 1952 Abraham Lincoln penny. Not just any old penny. This is the kind of coin that turns average Joes into millionaires overnight. So before you go tossing your change into that random drawer you never clean out, stick around. Because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for. Who knows? You might just retire early thanks to that tiny copper beauty, and if you're like me and once spent a rare coin on a pack of gum, you might need a tissue. Alright, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of this 1952 Lincoln penny and why it's shaking up the coin collecting world. First off, that mint mark stands for San Francisco. That's where this coin was struck. And in 1952, over 137 million of these pennies were minted. Sounds like a lot, right? You're probably thinking, why the heck would anyone pay millions for one? Most of them are just regular old wheat pennies. You know, the kind with the 2 wheat stalks on the back. But a select few, and I mean very few, have a combination of near-perfect condition, rare dye varieties, and insane luster that makes collectors absolutely lose their minds. We're talking about coins graded MS 67 or higher, with that shiny red finish that makes it look like it came straight out of the mint yesterday. One of these bad boys recently hit the auction block and boom, $1.7 million. Just like that. I wish I was the guy selling it. I'd be sipping lemonade in the Bahamas right now. Now let me take a little detour here and tell you a story. So picture this. I'm at a flea market a few years ago. Just browsing. You know, looking at the usual old comic books, rusty tools, and those weird porcelain cats. And I see this guy with a table full of coins. My eyes light up. I head over and I'm scanning through some old wheat pennies. I'm no rookie, so I pull out my little magnifier like a total nerd, and then I see it. A 1952 penny with an mint mark. My heart skips a beat. I'm sweating like I'm on a game show. I ask the guy how much. He shrugs and goes, give me 10 cents for it. 10 cents. I hand him $1 and walk away like I just won the lottery. Now hold on. Before you pop the champagne, it turns out mine was just a regular circulated penny. Worth maybe 30 cents on a good day. But man, for a moment I was dreaming of a mansion with a built-in coin vault. Always check. Because one of these days, someone's going to stumble across the real deal. First, it's about grade. Coin grading goes from 1 to 70. Most coins in your pocket are around 5 to 20. But a 1952 penny that hits MS 67 or higher, that's rarer than a unicorn at a gas station. Second, we're looking for eye appeal. That means the coin's surface has to be stunning. Bright red color, no nicks, no scratches, no ugly fingerprints from your snack-covered fingers. Third, there's rarity within a grade. Even though a lot of these were minted, only a tiny handful survived in pristine condition. And we mean tiny. You're more likely to get struck by lightning while winning a scratch-off ticket than find one in perfect red luster, and last but not least, demand. Collectors love Lincoln pennies. There's something nostalgic and patriotic about Abe's little copper face. So when a perfect specimen shows up, they bid like it's an eBay war zone. Check old coin rolls, bank rolls, pocket change, grandma's attic, flea markets, even estate sales. You'd be shocked how many folks have no idea what they're sitting on. And if you find a 1952 penny, take it to a pro. A coin grading service like PCGS or NGC can tell you if you've got a $1 million marvel or just a fancy paperweight, and hey, don't forget the die varieties. Some 1952 pennies have repunched mint marks where the S was stamped more than once. Those can boost value big time. You'll want to get it graded. That can cost you a bit, but trust me, it's worth it. If it comes back as MS 67 red or higher, congratulations. You're sitting on a fortune. Auction houses like Heritage or Stack's Bowers love these coins. They'll help you sell it to high-end collectors who treat coins like gold bars. Some of these buyers are big-time investors or museums. You don't even need to clean it. In fact, don't clean it. Ever. Coin folks are super picky about original surfaces. A scrubbed penny is like a shaved lion. Just wrong. The 1952 Lincoln penny might look like just another coin, but in the right condition, it could be worth $1.7 million. That's life-changing money sitting in plain sight. All you need is sharp eyes, a little luck, and maybe a magnifier that doesn't make you look like Sherlock Holmes at a barbecue. I still remember that feeling at the flea market. The rush. The dream. Even though I didn't hit the jackpot that day, it lit a fire under me. And now I check every coin like it's a treasure map. So here's your homework. Go through that spare change. Check every wheat penny. You never know. The next millionaire might just be you. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on coins worth money and how to spot them like a pro, hit that subscribe button. Smash that like if you've ever tossed a penny without checking it. And drop a comment below if you've got a 1952 penny. Who knows, maybe it's the one. Hey guys, listen up. What if I told you that hiding in your old change jar or stuck between your car seats could be a single penny, worth more than a mansion? Yeah, you heard me right. One single copper coin, 1 cent. That could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.8 million today. And no, this isn't one of those late-night TV scams or a clickbait headline. We're talking about a very real and very valuable 1949 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that's out there blowing people's minds and bank accounts. If you've ever tossed pennies aside like they're just pocket noise, you might want to rethink that strategy. That humble little coin might be the financial jackpot you've been walking on all along. Today, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about this legendary coin, how to spot it, what makes it so special, and how one nearly made me lose my mind at a flea market. So grab your favorite snack, dig into that coin stash, and let's dive into the world of big money pennies. This coin is part of the famous Lincoln Wheat Penny series, minted from 1909 to 1958. In 1949, most pennies were struck in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. If your penny doesn't have a mint mark, meaning there's no little D or S under the date, it was minted in Philadelphia. While millions were made in 1949, a teeny-tiny fraction had a minting anomaly that makes them super rare today. We're talking about a very specific kind of die error or metal mix-up that gives the coin just enough uniqueness to drive collectors absolutely wild. Like auction house crazy wild, first rarity. Only a handful of these coins were struck with a known error during the year. Some say a few were struck using leftover steel planchets from the war years. Others believe a unique misalignment in the die stamping caused a variation in the coin's appearance. Either way, these error coins weren't caught back then and ended up in circulation. Second, condition. If you have one of these pennies in pristine, uncirculated condition, what the pros call MS 65 or higher, then you might just be sitting on gold. Okay, not gold, but something arguably better, $1.8 million in copper. Third, collector demand. Coin collectors love stories. And the 1949 no-mint mark penny has a story worth telling: a post-war America, changes in coin production, mysterious errors, and sudden rarity. It's like a soap opera with small change. So a few years back, I was at this little flea market downtown. You know the kind, tables full of records, weird-smelling candles, used power tools from 1982, and tubs of coins being sold by guys who look like they've seen every episode of Antiques Roadshow twice. Now, I'm flipping through a bucket of coins marked 10 cents each, and I spot a 1949 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. My heart does that cartoon thing, you know, where it jumps out of your chest and drums on the table. I hand the guy a dime and practically skip to my car like I just won the lottery. I race home, whip out the magnifying glass, check the weight, look for die markers, and then boom. Turns out it wasn't the rare one. Just a regular 1949 penny that's worth about 5 cents on a good day, but for a few sweet minutes, I was a millionaire in my head. I even started planning what kind of pizza oven I was going to install in my dream kitchen. So yeah, lesson learned. But also, it got me hooked on the thrill of the hunt. Most importantly, get it weighed and verified. If it doesn't match the normal copper penny weight, 3.11 grams, and leans closer to the steel penny weight, 2.7 grams, you might be onto something. For the love of George Washington, don't clean it. You wouldn't bathe a fossil in dish soap, right? Same thing. Cleaning coins can destroy their value. Always handle it gently by the edges and keep it in a soft coin flip or holder. Well, in auctions, these rare 1949 no-mint mark pennies with the right error and condition have sold for as much as $1.8 million. Some have even sparked bidding wars that look like scenes from an action movie. It's wild. Now, is every 1949 penny going to make you a millionaire? Nope. Most are worth between 5 cents and maybe $5 in decent condition. But that rare unicorn version? It's out there. And people are still finding them. Easy. Go raid your junk drawer. Check the penny cup in your car. Look in old jars, dresser drawers, your grandpa's toolbox. If you come across a 1949 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, give it a good once-over. And if you think you've found something special, don't toss it back in the pile, have it looked at by a pro. Coin shops, grading services like PCGS or NGC, or even an honest-to-goodness coin show can help verify what you've got. Download one of those coin identifier apps. They're not perfect, but they're great for spotting potential gems without having to pull out a microscope every time. So there you have it. One tiny coin. One little cent. And it could be worth more than your house. The 1949 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is living proof that treasure hunting doesn't always mean diving into shipwrecks or digging in the backyard. Sometimes it just means taking a closer look at what's already in your pocket. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips, tricks, and treasure stories just like this, do me a favor, smash that subscribe button like it owes you money. Turn on those notifications so you never miss a hot coin alert. And drop a comment if you've ever found something cool in your change. I read every single one. Trust me, we're just getting started. This is your one-stop shop for coins worth money, collecting strategies, and wild stories from the world of numismatics. So stay curious, keep looking, and remember, your next $1 million find might be hiding in plain sight. Hey folks, grab your coffee, your couch spot, and maybe your coin jar too, because today we're talking about a little copper coin that could turn your next grocery run into a millionaire moment. That's right. We're diving into the story of the 1990 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that looks like it's worth 1 cent, but is actually worth, drumroll please, $1.9 million. Yep, with an M. This isn't some rare gold coin from a pirate ship or a treasure chest from a lost civilization. This is a regular penny that people use to toss in vending machines or drop between their car seats. And now it could be your retirement plan in disguise. So before you go spending that spare change on a pack of gum, stick around. We're going to talk about what makes this specific penny so valuable, how to spot one, and I'll even tell you about the time I almost gave one away without even knowing what I had. Spoiler alert, I cried a little inside. Alright, let's get into it. First things first, what's the deal with the 1990 no-mint mark Lincoln penny? Well, in 1990, the US Mint was pumping out pennies left and right, billions of them. Most of these coins were made at the Philadelphia Mint, and normally you'd find a tiny little P on the coin to let you know it came from Philly. But here's the twist, a few of those 1990 pennies somehow left the mint without that P. Total goof up on the mint's part. Now, that might sound like a small mistake. You might think, what's the big deal? It's just a missing letter. But in the world of coin collecting, a missing mint mark is like finding a typo in the Declaration of Independence. It's rare. It's weird. And collectors absolutely lose their minds over stuff like this. Only a few of these no-mint mark 1990 Lincoln pennies are known to exist. We're talking about the needle in the haystack. You could go through 10,000 pennies and never see one. Or, if you're ridiculously lucky, you could pull one out of your kid's piggy bank and suddenly be faced with the most awkward trip to Coinstar of your life. The current market value of one of these little beauties is $1.9 million, not a joke. That's verified auction house level money. This isn't just eBay wishful thinking. Someone out there is sitting on nearly $2 million and it's smaller than a bottle cap. A few years back, I had this big old coin jar sitting on top of my fridge. I've been dumping loose change into it for years. One day I finally decided to cash it in, thinking, hey, maybe I'll treat myself to a nice dinner or a pair of decent socks for once. So I'm dumping the coins into one of those machines and this older guy standing next to me glances over and says, hey, you check those for errors first? I laugh and say, what do you think I am, a coin detective? I went home, curious, dumped out the few pennies I hadn't cashed in, and boom, there it was. A 1990 penny with no mint mark. My hands started shaking. My heart was pounding like I just won the lottery. So I took it to a local coin shop, half expecting them to laugh me out of the building. But the guy pulls out this magnifier, looks at the coin, and goes real quiet. You know it's serious when a coin guy gets quiet. Turns out mine was just worn down. The mint mark had been rubbed off. Not the real deal. Still worth a cent. Maybe two if you count emotional damage. Well, here's a quick guide. Grab your magnifying glass or those reading glasses you swore you didn't need. Check the date, 1990. Then look right under the year. If there's no mint mark there and everything else looks crisp and sharp like the rest of the coin is in good shape, you might just have something. Now, if the coin is super worn out, scratched up, or looks like it's been through a garbage disposal, chances are the mint mark just wore off over time. That doesn't count. Condition matters. Collectors want sharp, clean, well-struck coins. The real $1.9 million ones? They're usually in what the pros call proof condition. Minted with a super shiny finish. Real show-off coins, and don't go scrubbing your penny with steel while trying to clean it up. That'll just ruin it. If you think you've got a winner, put it in a little coin flip, zip baggie, whatever keeps it safe, and get it to a professional coin dealer or grading service. They'll tell you if you've struck gold. Or in this case, copper. You want to increase your odds of finding valuable coins like this one? Start hunting smart. Go through rolls of pennies from the bank. It's cheap, easy, and surprisingly relaxing. Kind of like fishing, but your hands get a lot dirtier. You can get a roll of 50 coins for 50 cents. Do that with $10 and you've got 1,000 chances to find something valuable. Make it a weekly habit. Grab a soda, put on some tunes, sit at the table and just sort through a few rolls. You might not find the 1990 no mint mark penny right away, but you'll probably start spotting other cool errors and varieties. Some of those are worth hundreds or thousands on their own. Even if you don't find anything rare, you still end up with the same amount of money you started with. Try that in Vegas. The 1990 no mint mark Lincoln penny is one of those magical flukes of history that turned a tiny copper disc into a millionaire's dream. It's rare, it's valuable, and it might be hiding in your pocket change right now. So next time you get a handful of coins at the store, don't just dump them into a jar and forget about them. Take a second look. You never know what you might have. If you enjoyed this video and you want to keep learning how to turn your spare change into serious cash, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you never miss another tip. I've got plenty more stories, strategies, and coin finds that'll make you look at your pocket change a whole lot different. Alright guys, imagine this. You're at a garage sale, just browsing through some random stuff. You spot an old jar full of pennies and you think, hey, maybe I'll find a few cool ones here. You pick it up, sift through the pennies, and boom, there it is. A 1993 D. Abraham Lincoln penny that could be worth a cool $2 million. Yeah, you heard me right. A penny. Now, before you start running to the attic, let's take a deep breath and break down how this 1993 D penny could possibly be worth so much money. Trust me, this story's gonna blow your mind. Okay, let's get real for a second. We've all had that moment when we've found an old coin and thought it was worth a fortune only to realize it's worth about as much as the change you'd find between the cushions on your couch. I've been there too. I remember when I first started collecting coins, I found a penny in my pocket from 1972. I thought, this is it. I'm gonna be rich. But then I checked the value and it was worth like 50 cents. Not exactly a jackpot. The 1993 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. This isn't just any old penny. This coin, which was minted in Denver, could be worth up to $2 million if you find one in exceptional condition thanks to a rare set of circumstances that make it highly valuable to collectors. You see, it all comes down to a unique error that happened during the minting process, and that's where things get juicy. Now, before I get into the details of what makes this penny so special, let me just say that 1993 wasn't exactly a banner year for pennies in general. The U.S. Mint was still cranking out Lincoln pennies, but a combination of production glitches and less-than-stellar minting conditions meant that some of these pennies were produced with slightly off-center designs, weak strikes, or other minor errors. These imperfections, which most people would just toss aside without a second glance, actually hold tremendous value for collectors who are always on the lookout for rare finds. One of the key reasons this penny is so valuable is because of the unique double die error. Essentially, this occurs when a coin is struck multiple times by the dies, creating a double image of Lincoln's face or the inscription. It's like Lincoln is staring back at you twice, which, let's be honest, is kind of cool. But the real kicker here is that the double die error is extremely rare. We're talking about less than a handful of these bad boys floating around. It's not the easiest thing in the world to catch, so don't expect to just grab any old penny and have it be worth millions. You've got to look for some specific characteristics. First, check for doubling on Lincoln's face, the letters in Liberty, and the date itself. If the penny has a noticeable doubling where you can see two images overlapping, that's the holy grail you're after. This is not the kind of penny you're going to find just lying around in your change jar. Because of how rare these errors are, they're in high demand among collectors. So when one does pop up for sale, it can fetch a sky-high price. Okay, that sounds great. But how in the world do I know if I've got one of these on my hands? Well, lucky for you, I've got a little trick for you. First off, you're gonna want to check the condition of the penny. If it's been through the wash a few times or looks like it's been run over by a truck, don't get your hopes up. The cleaner the penny, the higher the potential value. Second, take a really good look at the details. If you see that doubling, then you're probably holding onto something worth thousands, if not millions. Now, you might be asking, okay, I've got the penny. What next? Well, the next step is to get that penny graded. Coin grading is a huge part of determining a coin's value. A professional grading service like the ones from the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, can give you an official grade. The higher the grade, the more it's worth. We're talking about a mint state grade here, the higher the better. Back when I first started getting into coin collecting, I found what I thought was a rare penny from the 1960s in a box of change. I was so sure I had struck gold. I sent it off to get graded, and when it came back, the results were, let's say, a bit disappointing. Turns out it was just a common penny from 1965. But hey, that didn't stop me from getting excited for my next potential find. It's part of the thrill of the hunt. When I finally found my first coin worth some serious cash, the feeling of holding it in my hand was unreal. It was like I'd won the lottery, only without the crazy taxes and media attention. So to wrap things up, if you're lucky enough to come across a 1993 D. Abraham Lincoln penny with a double die error, you could be holding on to a potential $2 million treasure. But remember, finding one of these pennies is no easy feat. You've got to know what to look for, be patient, and most importantly, get your pennies graded so you can really understand their worth. But don't let that discourage you. Coin collecting is all about the journey, and every penny you find brings you one step closer to hitting that big score. And hey, if you want to keep getting tips on coins worth money, valuable finds, and strategies on how to make the most out of your coin collection, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss the next episode where I'll be diving into another coin that could be worth a small fortune. So don't miss out, subscribe now, and let's keep this coin adventure going. Hey there, fellow coin enthusiasts. Imagine this, you're at a yard sale, sifting through a box of old coins when, bam, you spot a 1985 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, at first glance, it might seem like just another penny. But what if I told you that this seemingly ordinary coin could be worth a staggering $2.1 million? I know it sounds crazy, but stick with me because by the end of this video, you might just be running to your coin jar to find that hidden treasure. And no, I'm not pulling your leg. There's a rare version of the 1985 D penny that's fetching a serious amount of cash on the market. So, if you've ever wondered how your pocket change could turn into a small fortune, you're in for a treat. Let's dive in and see what makes this coin so special. Alright, let's start with the basics. In 1985, the US Mint produced billions of pennies. Most of these pennies are still in circulation today with little to no value beyond their face value, 1 cent. But not all pennies are created equal. Some have rare errors or specific characteristics that make them worth a whole lot more. Now, the 1985 D penny is one that you might want to pay attention to. Why? Well, it's because of a unique mistake made during its production. You see, the 1985 D pennies were struck with an unusual die, and this caused certain pennies to have a double die error. Essentially, this means that the coin has two impressions of Lincoln's image, one slightly off from the other. It's subtle, but it's enough to make it incredibly rare and valuable. Here's where it gets interesting. These double-die 1985 D pennies didn't just sit in someone's pocket. Some savvy collectors noticed the error, and that's when the bidding wars began. These rare pennies can sell for upwards of $2.1 million depending on their condition and how well the error is visible. So, if you're lucky enough to find one of these coins, you might just have a gold mine on your hands. When I first learned about this, I didn't think it was possible. I mean, a penny? Worth that much? It sounded like one of those urban legends you hear at family gatherings. But a few years ago, I had my own penny moment that made me realize how crazy this hobby can be. Let me take you back to when I first started collecting coins. I was about 12 years old and I was rummaging through my dad's old coin jar. It wasn't anything fancy, just a mix of change he'd picked up over the years. As I was flipping through it, I found an old 1955 penny. At first, I didn't think much of it, but I noticed something weird. The date looked a little off. It seemed like it was doubled, almost like there was a second date underneath it. My heart skipped a beat because, at the time, I had heard about the famous 1955 double-die penny, which is one of the most sought-after coins in the world. I rushed to my computer, did a quick search, and discovered that it was indeed a 1955 double-die penny. I couldn't believe it. I had unknowingly found a coin worth hundreds of dollars. It wasn't worth millions like the 1985 D, but it was a major win for a 12-year-old. That moment sparked my love for coin hunting, and here I am today sharing tips with you. Now, back to the 1985 D penny. You're probably wondering how to spot this rare coin in the wild. The key feature to look for is the doubling effect on Lincoln's image, especially around the chin, nose, and the date. If you look closely, you'll notice that the image isn't as crisp and clear as a regular penny, and the doubled impression is slightly offset. The more prominent this doubling is, the more valuable the coin becomes. The condition of the coin matters a lot when it comes to its value. If you find a 1985 D penny in mint condition, meaning it has no scratches, no discoloration, and no visible damage, it could fetch top dollar. A coin that has been worn down by years of circulation won't have the same value, no matter how rare it is. So, if you're out there hunting for pennies, make sure to inspect the ones you find closely and keep them safe in a coin holder or case. And let's not forget that the 1985 D isn't the only penny out there that could make you a small fortune. There are so many rare coins to be found if you know what you're looking for. I mean, think about it. One day you're flipping through your change jar, and the next thing you know, you're sitting on $1 million coin. It's like finding treasure in your couch cushions. The 1985 D Abraham Lincoln penny with the double die error. While most pennies you come across are just, well, pennies, every once in a while you might find a gem like this one that can make you a small fortune. Keep your eyes peeled for that subtle doubling, and who knows? Maybe you'll be the next person to cash in on a $2.1 million penny. Before you go, I've got a favor to ask. If you're into coins and want to stay up to date on all the latest valuable finds, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll be dropping more videos with tips on which coins to look out for, how to spot rare errors, and strategies to build your coin collection. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on these tips that could turn your pocket change into something worth a whole lot more. Hey there, coin enthusiasts. Imagine this, you're casually sifting through a jar of loose change, something we all do, right? You pull out a penny that's been lying around for who knows how long. At first glance, it looks like any other penny, but here's the kicker, that seemingly ordinary penny is worth over $2 million. Yep, you heard that right. It's the 1988 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, I know what you're thinking. A penny? Worth $2 million. Trust me, it sounds crazy, but it's true. Stick around because today we're diving deep into how this little copper coin could turn into a fortune. Alright, before we start popping open our piggy banks, let's break down why this 1988 no-mint mark penny is so valuable. You see, the regular 1988 penny isn't anything too special. It's got that familiar look, Lincoln's face staring at you and the year stamped right on the front. But what makes this particular penny rare and potentially worth millions is the fact that it was struck without a mint mark. Basically, it's that tiny little letter on your coins like D for Denver or S for San Francisco, which tells you where it was minted. The 1988 penny, however, was supposed to have a mint mark, but somehow a few of these were produced with no mark at all. These are known as error coins, and error coins are highly sought after by collectors. Well, it's extremely rare. There were only a few of these 1988 no-mint mark pennies that made it into circulation, and that's why they're so valuable today. The fact that this penny slipped through the cracks of the US Mint makes it a gold mine for collectors. And I mean that in the most literal sense. This penny could have been collecting dust in your drawer, just waiting to make you a millionaire. It sounds like a story out of a coin collector's dream, but trust me, the market for error coins is no joke. Rare pennies, especially ones like this, can fetch a huge price. The value of a 1988 no-mint mark penny today can be as high as $2.2 million, depending on its condition and the buyer. In fact, if you happen to have one of these rare coins, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Now, let's talk about how to spot one of these hidden treasures. It's not exactly a walk in the park, but here are a few things to look out for. This is the biggest giveaway. Flip the penny over and check the reverse side. If you see the absence of a mint mark, that's your first clue that it might be an error coin. Like all collectibles, the better the condition, the higher the value. If your penny is in mint condition, no pun intended, it could be worth more than one that's worn and battered. So, check for scratches, dents, or discoloration. If you think you've found one of these rare gems, it's a good idea to get it professionally graded by a reputable service like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. This way, you'll have a solid estimate of its true market value, okay? But enough about the technical stuff. Let me tell you a story about a time I found something kinda like this. I was at a garage sale, and you know how it goes, you're just browsing, looking for something cool. Well, I spotted a jar of old coins sitting on a table. There was nothing special about them, just a bunch of worn-out pennies, nickels, and dimes. I almost passed them up, but something told me to take a closer look. I went through the jar, and guess what I found? A 1943 steel penny, just like the ones people go crazy for. Now, it wasn't worth millions like the 1988 no-mint mark penny, but it was still a nice find. I ended up selling it for a couple $100, and let me tell you, I felt like I'd won the lottery. That experience really opened my eyes to how valuable these common coins can be if you know what you're looking for. And trust me, it feels great to find a coin that could turn into a nice little payday. The key is knowledge. The more you learn about rare coins, the better your chances of stumbling upon something like the 1988 no-mint mark penny. It's all about keeping an eye out for those little details that separate the everyday coins from the ones that could make you rich. Before you start digging, remember that not every penny you find is going to be worth millions. But if you keep your eyes peeled, who knows? You could find the next big thing. And if you do, be sure to take good care of it. After all, these coins are like hidden treasures waiting for the right person to discover them. Before we wrap up, I just want to remind you that there are always more opportunities out there to find coins worth serious money. So if you want to keep learning about the best coins to collect, the ones that could make you a fortune, and all the tips and tricks of the trade, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Don't miss out on future videos that'll help you grow your coin collection and possibly discover the next big find. Thanks for tuning in today. Keep hunting, keep collecting, and who knows, you might just find your own $1 million penny someday. Hey there, coin enthusiasts. Have you ever gone through your loose change hoping to find a little treasure? Maybe you've pulled out a penny or two and thought, it's just a penny. But what if I told you that one of those pennies, a 1987 D. Abraham Lincoln penny, could be worth a staggering $2.3 million? Yeah, you heard that right, $2.3 million for a penny. I know it sounds like a punchline to a bad joke, but trust me, this coin has some serious value that you'll want to know about. So stick around, because in this video we're diving deep into why this specific penny is so valuable, what makes it stand out, and how you might be sitting on a small fortune without even realizing it. Alright, let's get into it. Now, before you go rummaging through every jar and drawer for that 1987 D penny, let me break it down for you. The 1987 D penny is part of the Lincoln Memorial series and was minted at the Denver Mint, which is why it has that D mint mark on the back. But here's the thing, most of the 1987 D pennies are just, well, pennies. They're worth 1 cent. That's it. But there's a small group of these coins that are a bit special, and those ones can fetch anywhere from a few bucks to the jaw-dropping $2.30 million. Now, before you think this is just some kind of crazy coin collector's fantasy, let's talk about what makes the 1987 D penny stand out from the rest. The key factor here is rarity, and not just any rarity, but the kind of rarity that turns ordinary coins into serious collectibles. So how does a penny get to be worth $2.3 million? In 1987, there were some pretty significant production issues at the Denver Mint. These issues led to a very specific kind of mistake in the minting process. We're talking about die errors. These errors can cause the coins to have misprints, off-center strikes, or even double strikes, which makes them unique and thus valuable. Imagine, if you will, a time when you were just minding your own business, having a nice meal at a diner or taking your kids to the park, and you dropped a penny on the ground. You probably didn't think twice, right? I mean, it's just a penny. Well, back in 1987, the workers at the Denver Mint were busy trying to keep up with the demand for coins, and in the hustle and bustle, some pennies slipped through the cracks with errors. One of the most notable mistakes for the 1987 D pennies is a double die error. Basically, what happened here is that the coin's design got struck by the minting die twice, creating a more prominent design and sometimes even creating multiple layers of the design on the coin. So when you find one of these rare double die errors, it's like finding a treasure chest hidden in a pile of ordinary coins. Okay, I get it, this penny has an error, but how do I know if I've got $1 million gem sitting in my pocket? Well, that's where things get interesting. The key to spotting a valuable 1987 D penny is to look closely at the details. The most notable feature to check for is a double image on the Lincoln Memorial or Abraham Lincoln's face. If the image looks like it has been stamped more than once, you've got yourself an error coin that could be worth some serious money. The first step is to get a magnifying glass, or better yet, a good set of coin loops to take a closer look at the coin. Inspect the design carefully, paying attention to the lettering, the details of Lincoln's face, and the memorial on the back. If you spot any extra impressions or ghost-like images, you might just have a winner on your hands. Let me tell you a little story to make this all more relatable. A few years ago, I was at a garage sale, just your average Saturday morning, you know? I was hunting for old tools, vintage knickknacks, and maybe some hidden treasures. As I was going through a box of loose coins, I found a 1987 D penny that looked a little strange to me. It wasn't like any other penny I had ever seen. The lettering looked a bit funky, and Lincoln's face seemed a little off. I didn't think much of it at the time, but I kept it in my collection just in case. Fast forward to a few months later, I was talking to a coin dealer, and guess what? That very penny turned out to be a double die error, just like the ones I'm telling you about today. I couldn't believe it. This little penny I almost tossed aside was worth over $1,000. Now, while mine didn't reach the $2.3 million mark, it's proof that you never know what you might find in your pocket change. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, but if you know what to look for, the haystack just got a little smaller. Now, if you think this sounds too good to be true, I get it. But the truth is, error coins like the 1987 D penny are in high demand among collectors. People will pay top dollar for these rare, misstruck coins. Why? Because they're part of history. They represent a time when things didn't go quite as planned, and that mistake ended up becoming something much more valuable than anyone could have imagined. And don't worry, you don't have to be a professional coin collector to get into this. Heck, I'm no expert, but I've learned enough over the years to recognize a valuable coin when I see one. There are tons of resources out there, books, websites, and online communities that can help you get a better understanding of what to look for. If you've got a 1987 D. Abraham Lincoln penny in your collection, don't just toss it aside as just a penny. Take a second to inspect it carefully, look for any signs of a double die error, check out the details, and who knows? You could be sitting on a gold mine. Or should I say a penny mine? If you want more tips on finding valuable coins, strategies to spot hidden treasures, and a whole lot of fun along the way, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on the next big find. And who knows, maybe your next coin could be worth millions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll keep hunting for those rare coins that could change your life. Hey there, coin lovers. You ever walk into your local thrift store or dig around in your old coin jar, hoping to find that one golden ticket, a coin worth millions? Well, what if I told you there's a penny, yes, a freaking penny, that could be sitting in your pocket right now worth $2.4 million? Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into the world of the 1976 D. Abraham Lincoln penny, and trust me, you're going to want to hear this. So let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was at a garage sale. Yeah, I know, the ultimate place to find treasures and, let's be honest, a lot of junk. But then I stumbled across a box of old coins. I nearly walked right past it, but something made me stop. Now, I'm not saying I found a 1976 D. Lincoln penny worth millions, though that would have been nice, but I did find a couple of cool pieces that made me think, if I'm finding this stuff at a random garage sale, just imagine what's out there. That's the moment I got hooked on coin collecting, and now I'm here to share these gems with you. Alright, enough of my rambling. Let's get into it. Today, we're talking about a coin that might be collecting dust in your pocket right now. The 1976 D. Lincoln penny could be worth a staggering $2.4 million. Yep, you heard that right. So, let's break down exactly why this little penny could make you a small fortune. First, let's talk about what makes this coin so valuable. The 1976 D. Lincoln penny was part of the United States bicentennial celebration. You remember that, right? The whole "we're 200 years old" thing? It was a big deal. So, to commemorate the event, the U.S. Mint produced a ton of special edition coins, including these pennies. Now, most of the 1976 D. Lincoln pennies are just your average, run-of-the-mill pennies, nothing too special about them. But here's the kicker, there's a very rare and incredibly valuable variety of the 1976 D penny. This one has a major error that, in some cases, can skyrocket its value. What's the big deal with this penny? Well, the key error here is something called the double die obverse. This means that the die used to strike the coin was misaligned during production. So, when the penny was minted, some of the details, like the date and Lincoln's profile, were doubled. It's a clear mistake, and people love collecting errors like this. When you look at the coin under magnification, you'll notice the double strike effect on Lincoln's face, the date, and sometimes even the word liberty. If you have one of these in your collection, you could be holding onto a gold mine. The kicker is, these error coins are super rare. Not every 1976 D penny is going to have this error. In fact, only a handful were ever minted like this, which is what makes it so valuable today. Now, you're probably wondering, how the heck do I know if I've got one of these million-dollar pennies? Fair question. This is the key to its value. Look closely at the 1976 date and the word liberty. If you can see a noticeable doubling or shadow effect, then you've got something to work with. If you can see Lincoln's profile doubled in any way, that's your indicator. The better the condition, the higher the value. If the coin has been circulating for years, it might not fetch as much. But if you find one in uncirculated or near-mint condition, you could be sitting on a fortune. If you think you've found a valuable 1976 D penny, it's worth getting it graded by a professional grading service like the PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. A certified coin can fetch much more than an uncertified one, especially if it's in top condition. So why does an error coin like this one have such massive value? Well, collectors go wild for these kinds of rare finds. Think about it, most coins are produced in huge numbers, but errors are unique. They're like the diamonds in the rough of the coin world. The market for rare error coins has exploded over the past few decades. With online auction platforms and collectors' forums booming, more people are able to find and buy rare coins than ever before. And as demand increases, so do the prices for these rare pennies. So let's recap what we've learned today about the 1976 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. While most of these pennies are just your everyday change, a rare variety with the double die obverse error can fetch a jaw-dropping $2.4 million. It all comes down to finding that perfect, rare error coin in top condition and having it professionally graded. If you're lucky enough to find one, you could be looking at an amazing payday. And if you're like me, you probably can't wait to dig through your coin jar right now to see if you've got a hidden treasure. Trust me, I get it. I'll be honest, I'm still hunting for my own $1 million coin. But hey, it's all part of the fun of coin collecting, right? Alright, folks, that's all the treasure hunting tips I've got for today. If you want more insider secrets about coins worth money, how to spot rare finds, and everything else coin-related, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you've got a coin story, an error find, or a treasure of your own, drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Remember, folks, there's always something valuable hiding in plain sight, so keep on collecting and keep on searching. Who knows? Maybe next time you'll be the one with a coin worth millions. Hey, guys! So, picture this, you're going through a box of old change at home, just another random afternoon, right? You pull out a penny, give it a glance, and what do you know? You just might be holding a coin worth a staggering $2.5 million. Yep, you heard that right. A penny. But not just any penny. We're talking about the 1994 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. The fact that something as small as a penny can hold this kind of value is enough to make any coin collector or even casual coin flipper do a double take. Now, before you get too excited and start tossing all your pennies in the air, let's break this down and figure out just why this 1994 penny is worth a fortune. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be looking at your pocket change a lot differently. I'll even share a personal story about how I almost missed a big coin that I now kick myself for not holding on to. Stick around, because you'll want to hear about the crazy ways people have found these rare coins and what you can do to spot them. Let's dive in. Alright, so here's the deal with the 1994 no-mint mark penny. You might be thinking, how on earth could a penny made of copper-plated zinc possibly be worth more than a few cents? And you wouldn't be alone. Most pennies are worth just 1 cent. But here's the twist, the 1994 no-mint mark penny is exceptionally rare. You see, every coin in the US typically has a mint mark that tells you where it was made: Denver, Philadelphia, San Francisco. The mint mark is usually located right below Abraham Lincoln's bust. But in 1994, a small error happened during production at the Philadelphia Mint. Some pennies were stamped without that mint mark, making them unique. And when something is unique, especially in the world of coins, people pay top dollar for it. A 1994 no-mint mark penny can go for as much as $2.5 million. Yeah, I know. I almost did a spit take when I first heard that too. So, how did this happen? Well, there are only a handful of these elusive, mint-markless pennies out there. Think of them as the needle in a haystack. But when collectors and investors find them, they get absolutely wild. You're probably wondering, how rare are these things really? Let's put it in perspective. Out of the over 7 billion pennies produced in 1994, only a tiny handful, maybe just a few dozen, are missing the mint mark. That's why they are so valuable today. If you happen to find one, congrats, because it's like hitting the coin jackpot. Now, you're probably thinking, yeah, but how do I even spot one of these? Where do I even start looking? Well, my friend, I got you covered. And I'll even share a little story with you. So, a few years back, I was at a local flea market. You know, the kind of place where people sell everything from old books to random trinkets. I wasn't there for coins, but you know me, I always check just in case. I stumbled upon a guy with a box full of pennies, just pennies. I thought, why not take a peek? As I was flipping through them, I spotted an older one. It looked a bit different. It wasn't from 1994, but it was a 1980s penny. The funny thing was, I didn't give it much thought at the time. I almost didn't pick it up at all. In fact, I just tossed it back into the pile. Later, when I got home, I started doing some research. Turns out that penny I nearly forgot was actually a rare find worth a decent amount. Now, that was a lesson in not overlooking the small stuff. I kicked myself for not grabbing it. Lesson learned, never dismiss a coin just because it looks normal. If I had been paying more attention, I could have made a few $100 right there, but the 1994 no mint mark penny is a whole different level of valuable. So, here's what you need to do to spot one. Check the date and look for the missing mint mark. If you see a penny from 1994, take a close look at the area under Lincoln's bust. If there's no mint mark, then you could be holding a gem. The better the condition of the coin, the more it could be worth. These things can fetch big bucks if they're in mint condition, no pun intended. So you think you found one? Great. But you'll need to have it authenticated by a professional to make sure it's the real deal and not a fake. I learned the hard way, but you don't have to. Take your time and really check your pennies, nickels, and dimes. Rare coins don't just appear in the obvious places. They're hiding in plain sight. The 1994 no mint mark penny is one of the rarest and most valuable coins out there, with a price tag of up to $2.5 million. If you happen to find one, it could change your life. But as with all rare finds, it's about keeping your eyes peeled and doing your homework, because you just never know when that next lucky penny might pop up. Before you rush off to search through your change jar, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We've got more coin tips, hidden treasures, and strategies coming your way. Trust me, you won't want to miss out. Who knows? The next rare coin might just be sitting in your pocket right now, and you could be one lucky click away from discovering its true worth. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Keep your pennies close and your mint marks closer, because you might just find a fortune where you least expect it.